Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to go from being a teen mom wanting to commit suicide to the highest degree in nursing? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know working from their computers around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you would not succeed. And remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. Our special guest today is Dr. Bridget Leonard. So, what may have broken others, Dr. Bridget uses as building blocks to her next level of success. From sexual molestation and teen pregnancy to depression, suicide attempts, and abuse, Dr. Bridget Leonard embodies the epitome of the word perseverance. As an award-winning nurse leader for over 25 years of experience, for her transparency, courage, and motivation empowers employees and mentees alike to know that anything is possible when you are committed to doing the work. As the CEO of Bridget Leonard Enterprises, LLC, Dr. Bridget serves as a life coach to many who are on a mission to live their best life authentically and unapologetically. From motivating the masses, team building and engagement, to employee recognition and professional advancement opportunities, Dr. Bridget is sure to leave a mark on the hearts and minds of attendees through her speaking and nuggets of wisdom. So I love it. Thank you. Thank you for showing up today, Dr. Bridget.
No, thank you for having me here. Thank you so much.
We are going to have a good time, I'm sure, because you are a boss. I usually start off by asking the reason why you became a nurse. However, I will start off by asking about your becoming pregnant at 15. What were your first thoughts when you found out that you were pregnant?
Wow. Well, actually, I became pregnant at 14. Had my child at 15. It was very interesting to be pregnant at 14. I was very involved in sports. I was a basketball player. I was playing volleyball. So I really didn't notice the changes to my body because I was always a slim girl. And so when my hips started to spread and my breasts started to come about, I just thought it was just me being a teen because me and my mom didn't have those conversations in the house about sex. The only conversation I got was, keep your legs closed. And I'm like, I'm the average teen. What happens when you open them up? So I found out the hard way what happens. So I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was actually 23 weeks. And that actually happened, unfortunately, on a table at an abortion clinic. When my mom found out I was pregnant and she took me to get an abortion and the doctor said that he couldn't do it because I was too far along. So that was at 23 weeks. And then I had my son at 35 weeks. So I really had a 12-week pregnancy. So it was truly, truly shock.
Wow. That is so interesting. Now, you had a child that died of SIDS, right?
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know, SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome. And no one is ever prepared for something like that. Tell us about that experience.
Oh my goodness. I had, at that time I had 4 kids. Well, he was my 4th child. And I had finally thought I got myself together and enrolled in college. And so I was this college student up all night studying. My husband and I were home. Woke up that morning, getting ready for school, didn't pay it any attention, thinking that maybe one of my uncles had the baby because my uncle stayed with me. And I'm like, where's the baby? Where's the baby? And then for some reason we looked, I pulled back the covers and he was there and he was cold. And I just screamed because we had just took him to the doctor 2 days before because he had an upper respiratory infection. And so to wake up and find your child ice cold, non-responsive, it was traumatizing. And I walked around in a fog for over a month. where I just didn't know if I was going to live or die because I just felt that I failed myself as a mom. A good mother checks her child throughout the night, and I don't remember that particular night, I didn't remember waking up to check on him, and I just blamed myself for so long.
Yeah, and that's so true. I think a lot of people. I remember, having patients come in who dealt with children who had sudden infant death syndrome, and I remember that just pause whenever you have your own children, right? Thinking that that same thing is going to happen to your own children, and always up. I remember when my first one slept through the night, and I was like, "Oh, is she okay?" Right?
Right.
And, just being there and thinking of that. But that has got to be super, super hard. So what were some of the things that you did in order to overcome?
You know what? I started first and foremost, I had to realize that, I had three more kids at home and that I had to be there for them and I had to live for them. And then the fact that I was a young wife, me and my husband, we got married when I was 19. Well, he was 19 and I was 20 when we got married. And I had to realize that, we need to keep this together. We need to be here to support one another. So that, and then faith, listening to my grandmother, recite the Bible to me because I wasn't one of those people that were, I was raised up in the church, but I kind of ran away from it. But it's funny how you have to run back to it when things happen. And it was just believing that God had put this child, had loaned this child to me because although he was 2.5 months, he had traveled and everything. I had went down south and saw family members, and he had brought, established relationships that had been broken. And so I felt, I started to think that, what, God loaned him to me for a reason. Let me give him back because there's other things that I need to be doing down here. So that
I
was how
love
I
it.
got through.
I love it that he helped bridge those gaps, right? That's
Yes.
huge. That is huge. Now, you also said that you tried to commit suicide. What was your life like at the time that made you want to no longer be here?
Well, I first tried to commit suicide at 15 when I found out, well, yeah, when I was pregnant, because I felt like my life was over because all you heard from society and, all I got from my mom, because me and my mom didn't have the best relationship. All I heard was you're going to have a baby and you're not going to be anything. You're not going to be anybody. And here I was, at Northern High School, a straight A student involved in all these sports. And I'm thinking I'm about to have a baby and my life is going to be over. So let me speed this up. Unfortunately, I didn't know that you can't die off of aspirin, but it was my call for help. And I was, I think in all of that, I was hoping that I would get the attention of my mom to say, this is my daughter and she's going through something. Let me be here for her. And it didn't specifically work that way. And I think that's why I tried to commit suicide again when I got pregnant again. And then my third time was in my 20s. But I'm learning now that life is truly worth living. And I'm learning that sharing my story with others is helping me to save so many people. So I'm realizing that, although I had 3 suicide attempts, I was left here for a reason. And so I'm starting to really live in that purpose.
And you are living in that purpose because let me tell you, I'm trying to be a boss. I am just like, I am in awe of all the things that you do. I am just like, yeah, she's living. So now, what was your reasoning for you becoming a nurse?
Wow. Well, I actually really wanted to become a social worker. I really did because I just love loving on people. But I really wanted to become a social worker. But again, being a teen mom with 3 kids and you're looking at the pay for social workers, like it wasn't realistic for me to take care of a family of 5 with a social worker's pay. And so I'm like, well, how do I make money? And then, my mom actually passed away when I was 19. She had cirrhosis of the liver. So we spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital and just seeing how those nurses were so compassionate and so caring to people that they didn't know. And me knowing the type of heart that I had, I'm like, well, I can do this. And so I decided to go to school to be a nursing. I actually started off as a CNA. That was truly, truly an experience. I like to tell people that I actually got fired from the first job of the hospital system that I eventually became a CNO of. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I was young. I was cocky. Couldn't nobody tell me what to do. Been there, done that, or so I thought until I got those walking papers. But you live and you learn.
And you became the CNO.
And I became the CNO.
That is a story right there. I love it. Now, you now have your DNP.
Yes.
And what was your rationale for wanting to seek this highest degree?
I like to tell people, for somebody to have been a high school dropout, because I was a high school dropout, and to take every level of nursing. I literally have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in nursing, a master's degree in business, then my DNP. I wanted to go that route because I wanted to be able to open any door that I wanted to open. I didn't want anyone to be able to tell me no. I wanted to have all the credentials that I needed and, to build up on my experience so that I could walk down any path I wanted to walk down, or better yet, to create paths for me to walk down. And so I wanted all of that behind my name so that nobody could tell me no but me.
I love it. And that's one of the reasons why I went too. But I always tell people as well, I went back because I was curious. I was like, what? Why is it only what is it, 3%? I was like, why is it only 3% have the doctoral degrees? I'm curious about that. What are they learning, right? And the reality is that it's not that they're learning anything different. The reality is that it gives you perseverance. It gives you the ability to be able to persevere and do the things that you need to do in order to get through those programs. And it builds you for what you're doing today. It builds you for that.
That is true. And a lot of people ask me, why did you want to be Dr. Leonard? Why did you go for a DNP versus a PhD? And I'm like, I'm not research focused. I'm like, let's solve these problems here and right now. I don't have 7 years for your literary works to work through. I need to see something now. This is why I wanted my DNP.
Me too. I knew that we were friends. Yeah, I love it. I love it, putting it in action. So now you were the CNO of a hospital, as we discussed. And what made you want to have this highest level of the organization?
Sometimes it's funny you asked it. I want it. Sometimes I really have to laugh at that one. Sometimes people see things in you that you don't see in yourself. And so I truly was happy in my director position. It was actually a job description I had written for myself because I had told my CNO that I felt like I was reaching a glass ceiling with the current job that I had. And so I wrote me a job description and asked for the job of a director of nursing office operations. But sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for, because I believe that when I asked her that and I told her that I was reaching my glass ceiling, she started pulling me into projects and started making me do things that I didn't normally do to broaden my horizons. So I went for my DNP while I was up under her leadership, and she eventually went back for her DNP at the same school. Well, when she went back for her DNP, she decided that she wanted to go to a bigger hospital system. And so it was more of an appointment to the CNO role that I received. She actually, the day before, she told everyone that she was leaving to go to a bigger hospital system. I went home and I cried to my husband. I'm like, oh my God, she's leaving. She's leaving. What am I going to do? She's the person that has believed in me and has pushed me up. And then the next day at a meeting, she was announcing it to the board. And she said, but Dr. Bridget Leonard is here and she's going to be my replacement. I'm like, could we have had this conversation yesterday? What are you talking about?
She didn't tell you.
She didn't tell me. And I asked her after, I said, why didn't you tell me? She said, because you're ready. You didn't need to be prepared. You're prepared. You're ready. You're ready for it. So I took that interim position and I worked that interim position for almost 2 years. In fact, I became interim CNO of another hospital. So I was actually interim CNO over 2 hospitals before I became CNO of a magnet hospital, twice accredited magnet hospital. One of those accreditations that I worked really hard for. I was actually a writer on both, but I was CNO at the time of the second one. So I'm really, really proud of that.
I love it. I love it. And for those of you who don't know what a magnet hospital is a hospital that just really, they have shared governance. They really take the leadership role and they attract employees. That's the reason why they call them magnet hospital.
Yes.
Because their processes and their ability to capture garner the respect or garner the information from the bedside nurses gives them the ability to be able to be that magnet hospital. And so there's a whole bunch of more certifications, but that's the best way in which I can describe it. Can you describe it better?
Yes, I mean, basically, it's hospitals that take, like you said, that take the bedside nurses, listen to them, empower them, give them the tools that they need to be able to practice best, to be able to make sure that we have the best clinical outcomes, which in turn impacts the patient and makes the staff happier. So it's a win-win for everyone.
That's right. Because the bedside nurse is the nurse who knows the best how to take care of the
Yes,
patient in the current environment, right? Because once you
yes,
get to a certain point in leadership, you you may not understand the nuances of what's going on
right,
with the evidence base. Like you haven't lived it, you haven't worked it, and having the bedside nurse give you that information is
yes,
invaluable.
yes,
Absolutely invaluable.
yes, it is.
So is there a nurse that has significantly impacted your career, and why were they so impactful?
I want to say the first nurse that impacted my career is Miss Carol Hanna. It's funny. She was that's when I was in long term care. She was a older white nurse. You know, one of those nurses that had the sparkling white shoes and just rigid. And everyone was like, oh my God, they were scared of her. But I was drawn to her. I was drawn to her because it was just like, she was like a grandmother figure. And it's like, you knew that she had like this wealth of knowledge. It's like if you went near her, she just poured knowledge into you. And I love that. And again, she was one of those people that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. I was happy being an LPN. I believe that being an LPN provided the foundation that I needed to be as successful as I am today. So I was happy and proud to be an LPN. But it was her that put that bug in my ear. Bridget, if you want to go further, you have to do a little bit more. So she pushed me and she supported me going to school for my associate's degree. And you know how it is when you're mentoring somebody, you give them little baby steps. So you give them little crumbs so they can see how it is. And I believe that's what she did, because when I went to school for my associate's degree, she gave me the titles. I became a wound nurse. I became a MDS nurse. But she was like, but if you want more, you got to go back for more. And so I went back for my bachelor's degree. And before I knew it, I was her assistant director of nursing. And then I had my own nursing home as a director of nursing. So I got to give all credit to her for seeing things in me that I didn't see in myself, and for pushing me and letting me see that there is a life out there and that I can make impacts at all levels.
I love it. I love it. There was a nursing instructor that I had, and she was very much in the same way. Everybody was scared of her. And so we had clinicals, and she literally, she would come into the room and she would say, if your dress or uniform is not ironed, you will be sent
Yes.
home. Because back then we had the hats. If your hat is not on, you will be sent home. If your shoes are dirty, you will be sent home. I mean, all these things. If you're not prepared, you will be sent home. And I said, Lord. And so, everybody was prepared, obviously, whenever they went there, because she set the expectation, right? And that's the value of setting your expectation of what
Yes.
you would like, right? And that's one thing that she taught me just through representation. But it was funny because we had her first clinical rotation. And at the end of the clinical rotation, she said, y'all have got everybody scared of me. Everybody's scared to come to my clinical. I said, we ain't got nobody scared of you. You got them scared of you. I said, you're the one who said that. I
Yes.
said, but one of the things that she did do for me, though, is that she taught me, like, she had this really, really nice car, a truck. It was an SUV. And she told me, that, you can have these things, right? You can have these things if you work hard for them. And, and you're very strategic in how you do things. So that was the things that she taught me, and I loved it. Now,
Yes.
you recently pivoted out of this position into your own business. What was the rationale, and do you regret it?
Do I regret it? No, I'm sleeping better at night. No, I do not regret it at all. Been there, done that. It's on the resume. Check mark. No, I don't regret it. No, I have a passion for helping people, motivating people, and inspiring people. And I want to give my all. And I found that in corporate America, sometimes I felt like a hamster on on a little wheel. And I felt that at times I wasn't able to give all that I can give to my staff. I wasn't able to give all that I could give to my patients. And I'm like, that's completely against my ethics. That's completely against who I am as a person. And so COVID came, and because I have lupus, my physician told me that I really couldn't be in a hospital setting because she didn't understand, how COVID could impact someone with lupus. So I worked from home a lot, and being able to work from home, those were like 20-hour days. People were like, you're at home, but I'm having to stay tied to the computer. But it helped me to see that maybe this isn't for you anymore. Maybe you need to venture out and to do something else. Find another way to impact people. So, I like to tell people I quit corporate. I quit corporate because I found that I can have more of an impact going out and being a leadership speaker, being a motivational speaker, being a coach for those people that wanted the chair that I had, because I wasn't selfish at all. I would tell someone in a heartbeat, you can have this chair in my office. I will paint it the color you want. I'm not selfish. Let me show you how to get here. So I felt that I wanted to do that type of role, and I really wanted to teach. I've always been an adjunct faculty, even while I was a CNO. And I always loved teaching. To be able to give people that foundation is something that I wanted. So in addition to my coaching and in addition to my speaking engagements, I've actually taken on a full-time faculty position at a local college, and I'm loving it. To be able to pour into those students and to let them know that anything is possible, while also telling them how things are going to be in the real world when they hit the hospital. It's amazing. And I'm able to spend time with myself. I'm able to pour into them. So I'm feeling well-rounded. I feel like I have a 360 life now. I feel like I'm truly serving a purpose.
I love it. I love it. And it is important that you do that. Understanding what what your purpose is. Understanding and see the thing about you is that you have a phenomenal story, and the speaking, helps. I tell my clients all the time, the speaking is what gets you to that space where you're able to elevate your platform so that whoever knows, right? Because if you don't start speaking, right, I
Right.
don't care what you're selling, you won't be able to sell it, right, as
Right.
efficiently and effectively. But your story is such a phenomenal story, and you know, you're, and I want people to know that you lived that life, right? And not only did you live that life, like you came out of it, out of the ashes like a boss, and so I am just super excited about, your journey because, apparently, and I say this again as well, that the devil tries to tamper you. Like the devil tries to keep you down because he knows what your purpose is. He is uniquely peeked into your future. And so because he knows what your purpose is, he ain't trying to let that happen.
All
And
right.
so with him letting that happen, with you coming out of that, Lord have mercy. I can't wait. I can't wait. Now you have a YouTube channel. What was your reason for
Yeah.
starting this online platform, and what message are you trying to convey?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I had to start. I have a show where I talk about let's talk grown folk style. Dr. B present Let's Talk Grown Folk Style. And I love it because I found that I'm able to tap into those taboo topics that people usually don't want to talk about, but we know needs to be talked about. And I think one of the first episodes I did was I really came out of the shell and talked to people about my depression. I said, let's talk depression grown folk style. And I told them the things that I went through, the suicide attempts, the things that made me dark. And I talked about the things that made me come through it. And the response from people, the inboxes, the text messages, it was like overwhelming. Like, thank you. Are you in my house? Are you looking in the mirror with me? That's my life. And it was like, oh my God, I got to tell my story. I got to talk more. So I started talking about more topics. I talked about being a strong Black woman. I recently had that episode, talked about these jobs ain't loyal. So that was a
That
big
was a
one.
good episode too.
Yeah, last night I talked about, raising our sons in 2021. We talked about light skin versus dark skin. That was actually a 5-part series because it just went on and on and on. So many issues with, light skin versus dark skin in our community. So I built that platform to be able to give people a voice because, although I had had that first episode by myself, I found it more engaging to bring others to the platform. And so people have been loving that piece too, to be able to come to the platform and to also have a voice, to show others that you're not in this alone. We're all in this together, but let's find some solutions so that it doesn't have to be a discussion behind closed doors. We can have the discussion anywhere.
I love it. I love it. I mean, and there have been some amazing, amazing topics for sure, for sure. So where can the audience find you, Dr. Bridget?
You can find me anywhere and everywhere. I am on, right, I'm on Facebook up under Bridget Leonard. I'm going to have to transition out that page in a little bit. I'm on Instagram up under I am Bridget Leonard. You can find me on YouTube, Dr. Bridget Leonard. Just started Twitter. Don't look over there too much, but I'm trying. But that's where you can find me. And if you want to contact me, feel free to email me at info@bridgetleonard.com. I'm trying to get my website together. I got so much stuff going on. I think I need to put that higher on my priority, but I'll get to it eventually. But if you want to reach me, feel free to shoot me an email at info@bridgetleonard.com.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So super excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up this morning and pointing to the audience, because I'm very sure that people need to see people like you who are, who have overcome and who are doing amazing things in the world. So thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself and for others. Go ahead.
Can I just share one thing? I always tell people, I always leave people with two things. First and foremost, develop a personal mission for yourself. You guys are working for companies, and these companies have their mission statements and their vision statements, but you need to have a mission statement for yourself in order to guide your decisions. My mission statement is to positively impact at least one person every day through words, thoughts, or actions. So every day I know that I have to be intentional with my words and my thoughts to make sure that I positively impact someone. The second thing I ask people is to create your own personal board of directors. These are people that are going to help to hold you accountable. And I ask that you have at least 3 people on your board of directors. One person that you're mentoring, because this person is going to not only look up to you, but you're going to work a little bit harder because you're going to be trying to make sure that they have something to see. The second person on your board of directors is a peer, someone that is walking in your shoes, understands your frustrations so that when you're venting, they understand, but they're also willing to take that next leap with you. The third person on your personal board of directors is someone that you're aspiring to be. Someone that if you woke up the next day and you're like, if I could be that person, let me be that person, because that person is going to be able to mentor you. You're going to be able to bounce things off of them, and you're going to keep striving so that you can get on that level. So I'm challenging each and every one of you to develop your own personal mission statement and to develop your own personal board of directors. Believe me, it is tried and true. I have done this with hundreds of people. It works.
I love it. I love it. So I want everyone in the audience, I want you to drop your personal mission statement and drop the people that are on your board of directors. I want just drop it in the comments so that we know, right? So that we can hold you accountable as well. So I love it. I love it. Thank you for adding that. That's great. So my name is Dr. Viola Pierce, owner and CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know, working from their computers around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Dr. V that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you would not succeed. And remember to hit the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. You guys have a phenomenal rest of your day.